Hello and a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to News Desk on this Friday, the 3rd day of March 2017. My name is Sofia Wanuna. We are covering for you quite a number of stories this afternoon. We will be taking you live to Kiganjo, where the president is presiding over the pass-out parade there. You'll be seeing those live pictures shortly. There you go. On that second picture there, it is from the Wildlife Day that's been marked today. And those are the celebrations there and the event in Nakuru. Also, Patrick Amimo, as you can see him there at our city center studio, standing by to tell us more about the Baringo and West Pokot insecurities. We have those stories and, of course, many others right here on News Desk. So if you want to get briefs, this is where to stay with us throughout the next 1 hour for all the stories that are developing. Let's begin with Baringo and West Pokot insecurity. And West Pokot leaders are now calling for caution in the operation to address insecurity in Baringo and its border with Marakwet, led by West Pokot Senator John Lonyangopuo. The leaders say they want to be fully involved in ongoing peace initiatives. They reiterated their claims that the national government is biased in addressing the security crisis. And we'll be speaking to our Patrick Amimo shortly on that story. Let's take you now to Kiganjo. And President Uhuru Kenyatta is presiding over a pass-out parade of the police training college in Kiganjo. At least 3,000 recruits will graduate at the parade, and this comes amid security concerns in Kerio Valley and as the country prepares for the August general election. Let us now cross over live to Kiganjo and listen to President Kenyatta.
You will recall that in previous pass-outs, I have promised to add another 10,000 officers so that we can ensure Kenyans are fully safe. This year, we will be recruiting an additional 10,000 servicemen, bringing a total of approximately 40,000 servicemen and women who have been recruited over the last 4 years. In this regard, we have been working hard to achieve the United Nations recommended benchmark ratio of 1 policeman or woman to every 450 civilians. That number has been found to be a useful benchmark for measuring the strength and the ability of the force to its people. Today, it is my pleasure to point out that once we have added these young recruits graduating today, and once they enter the service, our ratio as a country will stand at 1 officer to 380, a significant achievement when compared with where we were in 2013, that is 1 policeman or woman to 1,000 civilians. That additional strength means that the National Police Service will now be able to offer better services, deploy more efficiently, and cover much more ground. These new officers will enter a service whose conditions and terms of service have substantially improved. We remain committed as a government to our police modernization program. We have expended substantial sums of money to bring in modern equipment so that our officers can fight crime effectively. We have new armored vehicles, new planes, new surveillance facilities, new vehicles, all for the purpose of empowering our officers to effectively do their job of keeping every part of our country safe. Equally, to motivate the morale of our officers, we have taken a number of measures to improve their welfare. Today, police officers and their immediate family members are enjoying a comprehensive medical cover in addition to the group life insurance that has been available for the last 3 years. Additionally, a number of housing projects are under implementation to provide new homes for you and to improve the quality of the older ones. Let me therefore conclude my remarks by reiterating my administration's commitment to even do more to empower our police service. But let us all agree today that in return for all this investment, the police service will too need to do its part, rededicate itself to the ideal of utumishi kwa wote. This is the only thing that your fellow Kenyans want in return. And I, as your president, believe in you. I believe you can and will serve to that standard. So today go forth, serve your motherland with total dedication. Let me conclude by thanking the college commandant and all instructors for an excellent job that they have done, and we wish them every success as they continue. Pongezi sana. Hayo machache, tunasema Mungu awabariki, Mungu awalinde wakati mnaanza kutekeleza kazi zenu. Asanteni sana kwa wote. Shukran. Thank you.
President Uhuru Kenyatta in Kiganjo there concluding his remarks addressing the police and of course others gathered at the police pass-out parade, maintaining that Kenya is on track to achieve that UN requirement of 1 police officer guarding and protecting 450 civilians, saying a lot has been done in the last 4 years to recruit more officers. Of course, 3,000 of them, they're graduating today in that pass-out parade. Right, let's now take you back to West Pokot leaders, including the Tiati Member of Parliament, Asman Kamama, who are now demanding that the government de-gazette an earlier order that declared Baringo as an insecure zone. Led by West Pokot Senator Professor John Lonyangopuo, the leaders say they want to be fully involved in the ongoing peace initiatives. They reiterated their claims that the national government is biased in addressing the insecurity situation. Our Patrick Amimo is standing by for us at our city center studios and will be joining us shortly. But let's listen to what the leaders had to say before we speak to him.
We are ready, all leaders and stakeholders from the Pokot community, both in Tiati and West Pokot County. We are ready to support the joint peace forums that will aim to bring lasting solutions to this situation one and for all. Just as has been happening, we have the team of professionals, not less than 50, who have been camping in Tiati for the last 2 weeks under the guidance of the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Security, Honorable Ngaiseri. So we do not know now, with the civil servants who are talking to the people to cooperate with the government and stop this banditry. Now the place has been zoned off. Even those civil servants have now run away, taken off back to where they came from.
All right, Patrick Amimo is at our city center studios to talk to us more about this story. Patrick, a good afternoon to you. So accusations and counter-accusations that we've been witnessing in as far as this insecurity in Baringo and West Pokot is concerned, the leaders from the local regions talking about bias and saying that they want to be more involved. The national government saying these leaders are actually persons of interest and that politics is playing a key role. What can the citizens hope will come out of this insecurity in as far as getting peace?
This area, insecurity in North Rift, has been a very tricky situation for the government right away from the 1980s, and it appears a solution to the insecurity problem when it comes to cattle rustling has not yet been found. But looking at the current situation where now Baringo has been declared as some sections, I think 19 locations in Baringo County have been declared as dangerous zones where now the security forces have been put on the ground to ensure that there is peace and order observed in that particular area. The leaders from West Pokot County are now claiming that there is a spillover effect. Baringo County happens to neighbor West Pokot County, and we look at when we look at Marakwet, which is in Marakwet, which is in Elgeyo Marakwet County, it neighbors Sigor constituency, which is in West Pokot. And leaders are concerned that now that there's an operation in Baringo County that happens to neighbor Sigor constituency, which is in West Pokot, some of the residents are now fleeing to seek security or safety in Sigor constituency, which is in West Pokot, and the leaders are now concerned they want to be involved into the peace initiatives. Remember last year when there were similar clashes in cross-border insecurity in part of West Pokot and Turkana, we saw leaders from West Pokot take the initiative, and we saw peace caravans go into the area with leaders both from West Pokot and Turkana putting efforts together to ensure that normalcy returned in that part of the country that was unstable then. This time around, they are also calling, they are claiming that there's biasness. The reason why they are saying there's biasness, they claim that the Marakwet side has been given 600 KPR recently against compared to 15 from the Pokot side, and they feel this is unfair. They are claiming that if the recruitment of KPR has to be done, then it has to be equal number. The other issue they are saying is that if maybe the lasting solution to the area or to the insecurity problem could be possibly to disarm these communities in the North Rift that are armed, because they say the entire North Rift, looking at Turkana County, West Pokot County, Baringo County, and part of Samburu County, we have pastoralists who are armed. In fact, they walk with guns as if they are they are walking sticks, or maybe part of the herdsman stick to take care of the animals. So they want these communities to be disarmed. If it's a disarmament operation, it be carried out in the entire North Rift to ensure that there is an equal playing field among all communities, claiming that you cannot disarm one part of the community and let the others vulnerable. So it is something that is maybe the security agencies should look into with a lot of deep thought and address to ensure that both communities are happy with the security operations in the area. We saw the other day the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights call on security agencies to ensure there is observed human rights when they are carrying out the operation. The Human Rights Commission was emphatic that the ongoing security operation should continue to ensure that there is peace and stability in the region. We know the Commission has been carrying out a study to see who are inciting communities in that particular region, and they have promised to give us a report maybe by the end of early next month to see who are inciting communities in North Rift. Sophia?
Patrick, the shoot-to-kill order, which regions does it affect?
With the shoot-to-kill order that was issued by the Deputy President William Ruto has generated a lot of controversy because, according to the Constitution, such orders are not supposed to be there. It's a matter that is being looked into on how it will move about, because currently, if the security officers carry out the orders, then they'll be held responsible, because the law has changed. And again, the law says that the Inspector General of Police should not be directed. He's an independent officer. It's an independent office. So we expect the IG to take control of the situation on the ground and not to be directed by the forces that be, especially politicians, because if politicians take charge, we might have, that's why the issue might be politicized, and people feel that probably because these leaders could be supporting a certain political divide, they are giving orders that are discriminatory. So the Inspector General of Police should take charge and be seen not to be taking orders from anybody, but to be running a police service as the Constitution mandates him to do, and ensure that he stamps out insecurity in North Rift. We saw a similar situation happen during the Grand Coalition administration, when the former President Mwai Kibaki addressed the insecurity situation in North Rift, parts of Baringo and West Pokot, and matters cooled down. But it appears now that that ogre is rearing its head again, and the security agencies need to see what went wrong and put the house in order and ensure that schools come back to operational learning process continues on, and the communities there carry on with their lives without interruption. Sophia?
All right, thank you very much, Patrick Amimo, live for us from our city center studios on that report there on the insecurity being witnessed in West Pokot and Baringo County, or rather the Elgeyo Marakwet County. Now let's take you to a day that's been marked here in Kenya today, where Kenya is joining the rest of the world in marking the World Wildlife Day by calling for strong wildlife protection policies against wildlife poaching and the illegal trade of trophies such as highly prized rhino horns. This form part of efforts by stakeholders aimed at fortifying wildlife protection in the country as the list of endangered animal species grows longer by the day. Trix Ingado will have that report for us later on, but I want to now take you live to Nakuru, where the Minister, CS Judy Wahungu, is addressing the people gathered for that event there. World Wildlife Day.
Problems, including competition for pasture and water resources, habitat fragmentation, and blocking of wildlife migratory routes and dispersal areas. Consequently, this has resulted in an ever-increasing human-wildlife conflicts, which has made those affected to create negative perceptions towards our wildlife conservation. Ladies and gentlemen, as a nation and a people, we have every reason to appreciate and celebrate our wildlife for the many benefits we derive from them. Our economy is to a great extent tourism-dependent and wildlife-related. Unfortunately, this sector of the economy continues to be threatened by poaching and illegal wildlife trade. This is a serious problem, not only in Kenya, but also the entire world. We are appreciative of the recent decision by the government of China to ban trade in ivory by the end of this year. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I'm being very short today because we were here to listen to the voices of the youth, and we have listened to the voices of the youth. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to appreciate that we are a commercial hub for the region and therefore must be extremely vigilant to combat illegal trade in wildlife. My appeal to all of you is that let us continue to recognize the intrinsic value of wildlife and the many economic and social benefits we derive from this important resource. As a country, the wildlife is our national brand. This is indeed exemplified by the use of the charismatic animal species to brand many of our products, including the use of the lion as our national emblem. Ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Kenyans, finally, it is now my honor and my privilege to invite you to celebrate with the rest of the world this day of World Wildlife Day, whose clarion call is to listen to the young voices. We have indeed listened to the young voices. Thank you very much indeed.
All right, Judy Wahungu there, Cabinet Secretary, Environment, Water and Natural Resources, concluding her remarks on the World Wildlife Day. And as she reiterated towards the end, the theme this year is to listen to the young voices. Let's now watch that report by Trix Ingado that highlights some of the issues in as far as protecting wildlife are concerned.
World Wildlife Day was set aside to celebrate the importance of world flora and fauna to humanity, raise awareness of the many benefits of wildlife resources and the need for wildlife protection from threats of poaching, and to recognize the important role that sites play in regulating international wildlife trade for sustainable development and human well-being. In Kenya, KWS, which is the leading government agency in wildlife conservation and the Sites Management Authority, has taken the lead lead in organizing and hosting the celebrations for the past 3 years. Kenya has intensified its wildlife protection efforts, launching a census of elephants and other large animals in Tsavo's Mkomanzi Conservation Area on the border with Tanzania. The aim, according to officials, is to establish the populations of elephants and other large mammals to assess the impact of poaching and climate change. Another conservation effort being employed by the service is lion tracking through fence maintenance and satellite monitoring. Through other conservation partners, 5 lions in the park have so far been fitted with satellite radio collars to monitor their movement and location.
They want to be preemptive, they want to be able to be proactive in terms of the management of the lions of Nairobi National Park. And more so because development is only going to increase, it's not going to get less. And therefore, they want to do a lot more active management by collaring more of the lions of Nairobi National Park so that they've got information on their movements and they can preempt actions such as those that resulted in the killing of Mohawk and, God forbid, the killing of a human being by lions that are living in Nairobi National Park.
IFAW has so far donated 6 satellite collars and 18 camera traps to KWS. The equipment will help improve lion monitoring and hence better inform officials. These conservation efforts come as the world marks the 2017 World Wildlife Day under the theme Listen to the Young Voices. Trix Ingado, KTN News, Nairobi.
You're watching News Desk here on KTN News. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're taking a break, but when we return, our Elvis Kosgei will be joining us from Eldoret, and you'll see him shortly. He's standing by for us to talk to us about the insecurity being witnessed in Kerio Valley. So stay with us right here on KTN News. We will have Elvis, we'll have a guest, as you can see, they're on standby to talk to us, to give us an understanding of whether the security measures that have been put in place by the government are bearing fruit. We'll be right back.